We'll get started here in just a minute. We're just letting people join in, trying to get all the people that we can in to the webinar here today. So it's exciting to see everyone here. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to a productive webinar. So we're counting down for about another minute. If you haven't had a chance, go grab something to drink, something to snack on while we do this webinar. It's going to be outstanding. You're going to get some great stuff from Wendy and Mark today. Please don't disappoint us, you two. Okay, we are coming up on 1 o'clock. Good afternoon, everyone. As usual, we're excited to see you here to join us for today's webinar, where we're going to be doing a 30,000-foot view of ColorWorks, and then we're going to look at our recoloring tool. So before we get started, I always like to do a little housekeeping items. Number one, all participants are currently muted, and video feeds from attendee cameras are turned off. We also encourage interaction. It makes these webinars beneficial for everyone. There are no bad questions. You probably have a question you don't want to ask and somebody else does, and you get the answer. So please participate. We greatly appreciate it. As an added incentive, if you stay with us until the end of the webinar, you'll have a chance to win one of 3 of our ColorWorks palettes, and this will be on our comb cotton sateen. These gifts will be awarded to the first 3 attendees that can answer a very challenging trivia question. So I hope you're good at trivia. And here's my guarantee. By the end of this, I feel that you'll be comfortable enough to understand the ColorWorks program and how to use the recoloring tool and to start implementing ColorWorks into your design projects. So without further ado, if I could please, let me introduce our speakers today. We have Mark Knight. He is the Director of Design, and Wendy Rowe is our Surface Design Manager. So let's get ready for an informative and engaging session. Please ask questions in the Q&A box down below, just so that we keep this smooth and flowing. If you will just enter the questions at the conclusion of the webinar, I will then pose those questions to our panelists and we'll get those answered for you. So again, let's enjoy this webinar. Mark?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our ColorWorks webinar. Now, we know you all have pressing schedules, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I'm going to give you that 40,000-foot overview of ColorWorks, and then Wendy will give you an overview of how to recolor and rescale patterns. We're then going to open the floor up for specific questions you may have that we have not covered yet. So let's start with the myths of ColorWorks. Since launching our ColorWorks print program, some preconceived myths about the program have developed, and I hope to dispel that for you today. Now, the first myth is that the program is too hard to use. The ColorWorks program actually is very intuitive to navigate. You can order any of the patterns and colors in our design library just as you would any other print in our line. You may change the base fabric with a mouse click, and you may upload your own pattern and color right to our website. And if you need help, Wendy is available to assist you with your needs every day of the week. So myth number 2 is that it must just take too long to do custom printing. In fact, we print strike-offs and production yardage weekly. Normally, your order will be printed in 7 to 10 working days. And finally, the last myth is it's thought that custom printing must just cost way too much. ColorWorks prints are actually very reasonable, with wholesale prices ranging from $29.95 for organic cotton sateen all the way up to $79.95 for 100% silk. Wallpaper is available at $34.95 per yard, and all of these come with just a 1-yard print minimum. So, frustrations. Also, when we ask our customers what frustrates you regarding fabric orders, there were 5 pain points that were mentioned most often. At the top of the list was discontinued fabrics. While the supply chain has improved since the height of COVID, shipping delays and mill closures are still not back to normal. Patterns can move from active to discontinued overnight. With ColorWorks, our digital files are archived, so a print pattern in our library will always be available. The second most listed frustration is long back orders. Most fabrics are produced outside of the United States. Production time can be up to 12 weeks, and that's just to produce the goods. Freight by ocean is the most used shipping method and adds an additional 4 to 6 weeks in most cases. Air freight only takes 7 to 10 days for shipping, but today adds an additional $10 per yard to the final cost of the fabric. Customers also list that it's sometimes hard to find the right pattern for a project. With ColorWorks, a custom pattern can be designed for that specific project by Wendy, or a customer may upload their own desired pattern to be printed. Sometimes the correct pattern is found, but it's not in the printed desired base fabric. And with ColorWorks, you can change that, as I said, with a click of a mouse. You can choose from any of our design archives or your custom design, and it can be printed on all of our 15 base fabrics or even the wallpaper substrate. Now, finally, not being able to find a fabric with the desired colorway needed for a project. Any of the patterns in our ColorWorks design library or custom design can be recolored to match the color scheme needed for your job, including solids. So, ColorWorks, what is ColorWorks exactly? Well, ColorWorks from RM COCO is a to-the-trade print-on-demand service that allows you to add colorful designs in an array of fabrics using direct digital process as well as a wallpaper substrate. So the benefits, there must be some benefits. Well, of course there are. There are so many benefits to the ColorWorks program. Here are just some of the important ones. Quick print turnaround means no more waiting around for long back orders. ColorWorks allows you to print your perfect design and colorway for just a 1 yard minimum. We print your design at high resolution for unsurpassed detail, and we offer color palettes with over 2,600 color shades from which to choose to print your perfect design. Receive your print orders in just 7 to 10 business days, and control the creativity with ColorWorks, whether it's a recoloring or rescaling one of our patterns or creating a unique one-of-a-kind designs for your own project. ColorWorks products are produced in our own print plant in the United States for quality that you can trust. And finally, no ColorWorks pattern or color will ever be discontinued, we promise. So, how does the ColorWorks program work? There are 4 easy options to choose. Choose an existing ColorWorks pattern and colorway, print it on the master base fabric chosen, or choose your own base fabric from the color deck or the pattern deck, the base fabric deck. You can also use an existing pattern and custom color or rescale the design to suit your needs. You can become your own print designer by uploading a custom design to print on fabric or wallpaper. Still need help? We're always available to assist. ColorWorks prints may also have any of our textile finishing services applied to them after printing for an additional charge. Treatments range from green shield to add a performance finish, NFPA 701 for drapery, or NFPA 260 for upholstery, just to name a few. So how do you choose colors for your design? You will need a ColorWorks color palette. Each of our base fabrics, as well as our wallpaper, have their own color pattern. Each palette contains over 2,600 colors from which to choose. Underneath each color box is a combination of letters and numbers. This is the hex code. Our print machine uses the hex code in order to formulate each color used to print a pattern. The price of the pallet is just the cost of 1 yard of the base fabric or wallpaper that you select to purchase. For example, if you plan to print on organic cotton sateen, the price for that pallet is $29.95. If you print on silk for that pallet, it's $79.95. Or if you print on wallpaper, the pallet's $34.95. We suggest for any color, design, or base fabric changes that you order a 1 yard approval sample, as computer monitors vary greatly and you cannot be assured that what you see on the screen is exactly what will print on the fabric or wallpaper. You also cannot assume that a color printer will accurately depict what you will see on fabric. Custom fabric cannot be returned, so it is always best to obtain an approval sample before placing your final order. Each palette contains the same color assortment. However, it is strongly suggested that you select colors from a color palette printed on the ground you plan to use for your final order. Here is why this is so important. Each of these fabrics have been printed using the exact colors, but each one is printed on a different base fabric. As you can see, even with the same color formulations, each ground takes color differently. The only way to really know how a color will print on the base fabric you plan to use is to select colors for a color palette printed on that ground. You will also want to order the base fabric deck. This deck includes all of our base fabrics for the ColorWorks program, as well as a sample of our wallpaper ground. It's included in the deck and available for just $16.95. Want to print your own artwork? Our website will quickly help you do this with 3 easy steps. You must confirm that you own the copyright or have written permission for a copyright holder to print the design that you are sending to us. For more information about ColorWorks program, or to order memos, a base deck, which also includes a sample of the wallpaper, or a color palette, visit our website and click on the tab at the top of the page marked Custom Printed Fabric and Wallpaper. An overview of the entire ColorWorks program, along with the most frequently asked questions, can be found under this tab. If you select View All Patterns, you will see the most current ColorWorks design library. Click on a specific pattern, and you may order a memo of any of the pattern and colors shown there. Memos are printed on a master base fabric for each design. Your memo will be on that master ground. If you want to print on a different ground, you would simply order a 1 yard strike off for that selected ground. So now you have that 40,000 foot tour of RM COCO's ColorWorks program. I will turn the presentation over to Wendy for today's special topic on coloring and rescaling your patterns.
Okay, so today I'm going to talk about using our recolor tool. We're going to learn how to find your way to the recolor tool and the selections that are going to get you there. We're going to learn the features of the recolor tool, and as I demo, I'm going to provide a demo on one of our ColorWorks patterns. So I'm going to show you not only how to do a simple recolor, but I'm going to present a few possibilities that you may not have thought of. So let's begin. When you open our website, the first thing you want to do is head over to the ColorWorks section of the site, which is located under that custom printed fabric and wallpaper tab. You're going to go to View All Patterns. And then from there, the drop-down menu is going to take you to the ColorWorks library. You're going to scroll and pick a pattern. Today, we're going to do Alsace Damask. Which I believe is on the second page. There we go. From here, you're going to type in the order type as regular. And then the base fabric options. As you can see, we have 15 base fabrics. And then the wallpaper option is all the way at the bottom if you were going to choose wallpaper. For today, I think we're just going to use the Jalisco. And now it's going to let you go ahead and click on that. Click here to customize color and scale button. So it's going to open up to a standard default scale. You'll see the undo, redo, start over, and the preview buttons. The preview is going to take away that toolbar, and so you can see the full design. When you hit the scale design button, you can change the scale, which is going to show you the number of repeats, number of times the repeat's going to go across the 54 inches of fabric. So if you take away that preview, you can see how many times that repeat goes across the full. But for today, we're going to make it really big so you can see what's going on. So you got your little color bubbles. You're always going to start by clicking on the color that you want to change. You can change colors by clicking in the color box, the color bar, but the most recommended, the highly recommended and the most accurate way is to go ahead and type in the hex number directly to the hex number box from your color palette. So this pattern has a background texture, and if you take and repeat that white, you can get rid of the background texture, something that not everybody thinks of. So now it has a clean background. Another thing you can do is pick one of the other three colors and repeat it across the other two channels and make it a 2-color design. So you've changed it from a 5-color pattern to a 2-color pattern. Change your mind. That's where that start over button, redo, comes in handy. Back to the beginning. So now you can grab your color palette. We'll put some new hex numbers in. Make something different. I think we'll go with some warmer colors. So we'll type these in. You can see that changes live as you go. Okay, so now you have a brand new color. If you really like this color, you can save that color combination to your color palettes. So all you have to do is click on the bubble that you want to save the color of and add with the little plus sign at the bottom and create a palette. And then you can save it by naming it. And it'll be under your palettes. I think I already had this one in my color palettes, so it's already in there, but so now we really like this design, let's say, so let's save to projects. So when you're saving a brand new project, you'll save new client, new project. So you'll put in your client's name or whatever. You can make it could be anything really. And then the overall project name, like in this case, we'll put Miss Design. And we'll do bedroom papyrus. All right. So it's saved under your account. So you got your client, Miss Design, her bedroom, and this is the papyrus. So if you wanted to add this to your cart, you would just check the box and then hit the checkout button. If you want to change the base fabric, you can click the edit base fabric button here if you want changed your mind from the Jalisco. We'll stick with it. Got to check. Gotta check. And you would just keep checking out like you normally would. Now, just resaving. You always want to make sure that if you ever go back in, you can always go back and edit your designs, but you always want to save them after editing or you'll lose your design. So it's very important that anytime you go back in and open your designs again to resave them or your design will get lost. So other than that, that's all I got. If there's any questions, we'll open it up. Heath, your mic's muted.
Thank you for reminding me. I even remembered Heath, unmute yourself, and I did. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, please put those down in the QA box below. And just to recap, I think this program really addresses some fundamental pain points in people's business. And this is designed to help, generate revenue and address pain points in your business. And the biggest one just being discontinued patterns. We know as long as we've been in this industry, that is so common, it happens across the board. And when you experience that, you're really left with no options. The first design that you pick and show to your customer, the second one is never good as the first. So with this program, you do have the opportunity to submit that design to us. And I want to be clear about this. We cannot copy the design that you're sending to us. But what we can do is make something very similar to what it was that you and the customer selected. And it gives you and the client an opportunity to take a design that they like and actually make it something even more to what their liking is, to have that ability to say, well, if I had my choice, yes, I like this pattern, but if I had my choice, I would like to do this or that. And so with ColorWorks, you have that ability. The other thing that we deal with a lot of times is a lengthy back order. So again, if you have a lengthy back order and it's a time critical situation, you can submit that design to us and we can make something similar to it. The other is many years have been doing this, and it's going on 25 years. The salespeople that come and see you, we present our line of fabrics. We usually would romance them to you on a 27 by 27. And if I brought to you a particular print and I lay it down and I show it to you and you'll say, Heath, I absolutely love that design, but I wish you had it on something other than a comb cotton sateen. And it's like, well, that's what we have today. But with this program, we have 15 different base cloths that we can take that design and put it on a different substrate for you. That's something that nobody else in the industry can offer you. The other thing is, if I come to you and show you a design and you love the substrate that it's on, but you say, I really wish you had it in this particular blue. Well, I have 12 colors. That's not one of them. Again, in the past, that's it. Nobody else can offer you different colors. But with this program, has been shared today, there's over 2,600 colors that you can choose from to change that base cloth. And then finally, it's just the flexibility of creativity. People will spend more money for a one-of-a-kind type product, and it allows you to give them a wow factor, to give them something that they're not going to find from anybody else. You're going to be able to have the ability to create that design that's going to be just specifically designed for your client. And a satisfied customer that's been wowed is going to be a repeat customer and also talk about you and refer you to other people. So those are some major things that we have here in the ColorWorks project. Some questions here. Let's see here. Abby, how does the process work for submitting your own pattern question? That's her question. Specifically, how does one-on-one help session work and what is the price of a session? Great question, Abby. I'll let Mark or Wendy answer that question.
So, Abby, if you email me, I can send you the specifics for submitting your own pattern. You can email me at colorworks@rmcoco.com, and I have some PDFs that I can send you with all the details. As far as the one-on-one, all you have to do is give me a call, if you email me, I can give you all the contacts and I can walk you through if you need help with anything. So, and there's not a fee for that. I'm just helpful. So.
So yeah, good question. We get that asked a lot, Abby. So hopefully that helped. If not, send me another question in the Q&A. Julie asked, did you say the color palette for fabric should be ordered in all substrates because the color selections will look different? Or just know that the color will look different on the 1 yard sample from our palette fabric? Marker, when do you want to take that question?
So we highly recommend ordering a color palette on whichever base fabric you're going to print on, because yes, it will print differently. So if you're going to print on all of them, then I would have a palette on all of them. If you know that you're only going to be printing on, a few of them, just order them as you need them, I would say. Mm-hmm. You don't have to get them all at once. It's up to you.
But you can see in the example that we showed today, those are all the same colors, and it varies greatly from
Yeah, there
from
you go.
ground cloth to ground cloth, yet that's all the
That's
same
all
color.
the same color.
So you can certainly do it with one palette. You just are not going to know what it really looks like until you get the 1 yard sample. And if it's
Yeah.
not what you would like, then you have to start over. So
Yeah.
there's a reason to have the right palette.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like Mark said, you can do it without it. It's just you're going to have more strike offs. So,
Wendy, can you go back and maybe just elaborate a little bit more for Abby and the rest of the people attending today? So there is a fee that we have for working with Wendy on custom designs. Can you talk about the
yes.
number of iterations they get and that cost?
So for custom design work, the design fee is $80 per hour, for which I quote based on the complexity of the project. So it varies depending on what we're working on. I always quote in advance. And then there's 2 edits included in that, within that quote. An edit consists of, excuse me, an edit equals 15 minutes of consultation and 15 minutes of design time. So that's kind of how you can judge what constitutes an edit. It's not a do-over. It's not something massive. It's just a small change here, here and there. Taking something out or recoloring something, that sort of thing. Put my video back on so you can see me. There I am. Forgot about that. But I'm usually fairly good about working multiple edits into one edit. So I'm nice like that. So
Great. And then also going back to Julie's question, a lot of times, Julie, the color palette itself, we recommend that if you think that you're going to use a particular base cloth a lot, you're probably would be well served to get the color palette in the base cloth you're going to use a lot of. If you're going to use 2 specific ones, for example, Jalisco, then you probably need to get a color palette in Jalisco. If you're going to use the organic cotton sateen, you probably would need to get the organic cotton sateen. It would be an investment well worth it.
Yeah.
Help you down the road. Yeah.
And also, if you plan to do wallpaper, you need a wallpaper palette because the wallpaper actually takes color much differently than a fabric. Fabric's absorbing the color, whereas the wallpaper, it's
sitting on it,
reflecting the color. So it actually sometimes is brighter.
Yeah.
Yes. Mark or Wendy, so ours is direct digital printing. Have we spoken about the sublimation that we also have the ability to do? You want to talk about the difference between the 2 of those? Mark or Wendy?
Well, right now we're not offering sublimation on a wide variety of grounds. If you order our Villa, which is our velvet, that's a sublimation process, which is a gas transfer process of color to the fabric. Eventually, we will offer sublimation as a separate printing vehicle, and that's really more for synthetic goods. The direct digital printing is more geared to cotton and natural fibers.
But before you mute off, so that's one of the things I wanted you to point out. The benefit of direct digital printing allows us to print on a much larger variety of substrates than when you're just doing sublimation.
Right. Correct. Well, the sublimation right now we can only do on one cloth, which is Villa. Eventually we hope to add maybe an outdoor ground, some FR grounds. That's all being tested, but that's really ideal substrates for sublimation printing, whereas it won't take color the same way as it does on the digital printing. Digital is really more geared to the natural fibers and silk and cotton and linen.
Also, Mark, can you just talk a little bit more about the wallpaper itself? There is one question from Victoria wanting to know if the wallpaper is peel and stick. Can you just talk about our wallpaper substrate?
It is not peel and stick. It is pre-pasted and it is untrimmed. And it's a little different than most wallpapers. Most wallpapers are put up in single, double, or triple rolls. Ours is by the yard. So if your wallpaper hanger knows how many yards you need, it can be quite a savings because you're not ordering a lot of extra waste yardage. It comes untrimmed, and here's the reason it does. The biggest problem with shipping wallpaper is dings in the ends of the rolls as it's being shipped. So if it dings on a pre-trimmed paper, that ding sometimes shows up all the way down the wall seam. Whereas if your wallpaper hanger trims it on site, that ding is cut off, and so you're left with pristine wallpaper. All of our wallpaper is geared just like the fabric to fit into a finished 54 or 27-inch width. So if it fits on fabric at 54 as a horizontal repeat, just know on wallpaper it's going to be half that width, so you'll get a half drop in most cases, which will mean you'll need to order just a little, but your wallpaper hanger will know that they need to order a little extra for that matching purpose. And other than that, it's pretty much like any other wallpaper. It's wipeable, it's not scrubbable. It has a low luster finish to it, so it's not shiny, yet it's not flat.
Great, thank you for that answer, Mark.
Mhm.
Stephanie, you keep raising your hand. I see that, so I want to recognize you and say I see you. If you do have a question, please put it down in the Q&A box, and we will answer your question for you. Next is a question from Haley. This is a very common question that we get. Mark or Wendy, can a discontinued RM COCO pattern be recreated through ColorWorks?
No.
So same thing. And let me explain to you, Haley, a little bit. So anything in our ColorWorks digital print collection that we have are our designs. We can manipulate those. We can do whatever we want to. We have rights to those. The patterns that we are buying can either be open stock patterns or they can be exclusive. If they're exclusive, it only means that we have exclusive distribution rights. We do not own the pattern. So it would be the same as if you had a discontinued pattern from a competitor. All we could do is to take that design and to make something that has a similar feel, but we cannot directly copy something that we do not own the copyrights to. And again, anything that we have rights to are going to be in the ColorWorks digital print program, which when Wendy was showing the website, if you'll go and look, you can view all of those. Those we can do anything with.
And
So
sometimes you can even have to do a custom piece of artwork. If you send Wendy a design and say, let's just say it's a Jacobean tree of life. If we have a Jacobean tree of life in our library, sometimes all it takes is taking the colors from the original design and plugging those into our copyrighted design. And that color alone in the right same style or similar style, if it's a Jacobean tree of life and you color it similarly to your original, you may only have to do a recolor. You may not have to actually do a from scratch piece of artwork. So there's sometimes a way to get in between the two without having to go the full custom route.
Mm-hmm.
Krista asks, which fabric substrate do you recommend that hangs the best for panels? So everything that we have on our base cloth deck is multi-purpose. So any of them would work for panels. There probably are some that work better than others, but they are all multi-purpose, can be used for top of the bed, pillows, and draperies. Some of them are even have upholstery ratings. It could be used for some light upholstery work, right, Mark?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and but I would recommend something like Jalisco. Of course, any organic home cotton sateen is going to just hang beautifully. It's going to pleat very nicely. That's always been a favorite in drapery fabrics for prints. So, but yes, everything in our base cloth deck, which I have right here, can be used for drapery. There is also a question here from Diana. She says she apologizes for missing the very beginning. That's all right. There was a secret code that we gave you for the end, so hopefully somebody will share that with you, Diana. But I'm just kidding. What are the fabrics like? So we do have this fabric substrate deck. There's 15 different fabric base cloths that you can use. Everything from 100% cotton, linen blends. We have a velvet, we have a silk, so a lot of different substrates, and we would recommend that if you have any interest whatsoever in this program to invest into a sample deck, it's a nominal investment of like $16.95.
And the reason those are printed the way they are, Heath, if you would hold that back up,
Sure.
the top of the palette is always printed in the same pattern. We picked a small scale pattern with quite a few colors in it, and that just is to show what each base fabric, how it will take that same design, same color, so you can see the variation. The other thing you should look at is the bottom. That shows you the white point as well as the specs of the pattern. So we do not currently print white. We are about to be able to print white, but right now we don't print white. So the whitest white you can have in your design is the white of the true white of that base fabric. So if you pick a yellowy toned base fabric, that's as white as your white. However, you can also see on those color palettes when you're going page by page, your eye perceives that white as white. Now, if you're trying to match to a stark white fabric in the room, you will see that tonal difference, but your eye does fill in and it assumes that that's white. But just know that it is the white of the base fabric.
Speaking of that, Mark, are there any types of other things, finishes or special effects, metallic or anything like that that can be printed currently right now with this program?
No, but I think Wendy can tell you some of the exciting things that we're about to be able to do.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
The question was, Wendy, no worries. Is there any special effects or finishes that can be applied or done during the digital printing process? Like metallics or?
No metallics, but
the
for the upgrades, like Mark was saying, we are about to have white. And
Mark, while she's doing that, can you, somebody had asked, what does the printed fabric feel like? Can you talk a little bit about the softener that we put in there?
Yeah, we put a softener into the ink, so it's going to feel like
that's all right,
pretty much any other print that is in
show and tell
that you would find in our line. So it's not stiff. It doesn't stiffen it at all. So you can look at probably, if you're looking at cotton sateen, any other cotton sateen is going to feel like ours. If it has linen, has a little texture, it'll feel like that as well. It's not going to be really stiff. So that's a good way to tell.
Yeah. So Wendy, you want to talk about what you're holding up there?
This is white.
Oops, she froze. Mark, you know what she's showing?
She's showing that we will be able, that's a black background that we've printed white on top of. So we're about to be able to do that.
So that's one thing. But the cooler thing is white printed. And then you can go on black.
So what does she say, Mark? I mean, you probably know. She's
printing colors on black.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So we can print color on black.
Okay. We were catching it. We were having Mark interpret your frozen screen.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. You're back now.
So
and tell them about the buildup, Wendy. Do you have a sample of the buildup?
I don't know if there is a sample of the buildup over here. Do we have a sample of the buildup over here? The 3D.
While they're looking for that, this process will allow ink to build up on a fabric, so you get a 3D effect. It's not like puff paint, but that's probably the closest thing you can tell someone, and they'll understand how this looks. It just is a buildup of the same color.
This one isn't really a good example of it, but trust me when I say.
So when you showed it and you said something you missed, I think what you're saying is that, Mark, that's showing dimension to it, right? We're going to have the ability to show dimension into a print, which is very,
it'll kind of resemble an embroidery.
It's got, I mean, like, but like not puff paint, but it's raised. I don't know how to say.
Yeah.
It's cooler looking though.
The other thing that we're going to have the ability to do are fluorescents.
Yes.
Should you
So
ever get a call for something fluorescent, we can do that. Now,
yeah,
metallics are a different thing that we
yeah.
can get
Don't have
colors
that yet.
that are similar. They're flat colors, but they look somewhat like metallic, but we can't do
Well,
true metallic.
yeah. But with doing the with the white on the black, you can get kind of more of that effect with the under coat of the white, I think, to get the metallic. There's a better example than that floating around somewhere, but
Yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of
oh,
creativity that we can.
this one, here's one that looks embroidered.
Yeah. So to have that done in printing, that's just a really neat feature of the digital printing process.
I'm trying to get it not blurry there.
Yeah,
Can
you
you?
can see it. Yeah, looks good.
So it looks stitched, but it's
A print.
print.
Yeah.
And it feels stitched.
Mm-hmm. Wendy, Diana asked, can you explain a little bit more how to use the color box and the coloring system instead of typing in the hex number?
All right. So here's the thing about the color box. You can use the color box, but you're going to end up having to do a lot of strike offs because the color box isn't going to give you a hex number that's on the color palette, which is why we don't recommend using it. So if you don't mind having to do multiple strike offs, then that's okay. So all you do is you you click on your little bubble to pick which bubble you want to change the color of, and then you just click inside the color box, and you can just move around and pick a color that way. And to get to the color box to change colors, that's where the slider, you can move the slider to the color range that you want to be in. If you want to be in the reds or the blues or whatever, you just move the slider, and that's all. Easy peasy.
Good. Abby asked, what is the best method for capturing and uploading original artwork? Any recommendations?
So to upload your artwork, it has to be in repeat and print ready. I have all those specs that I can email you for it to be print ready. You can just email me at colorworks@rmcoco.com and I can give you all, I can send you all that information. But sometimes the easiest way, because I know a lot of people have larger files and it's hard to upload them on our website sometimes, to submit them for you. Sometimes it's just easier. And if they're too big to email, sometimes we can use WeTransfer or stuff like that too. Sometimes it's just easier than fussing with the upload, which is fine. I'm happy. And I can check them and make sure everything's good with them.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that answer, Wendy. Jan asked, out of curiosity, what kind of ink is being used for the fabrics? Is it pigment, reactive, latex, UV? And then is the same ink used for both wallpaper and fabric? Who's going to tackle that one? Mark?
The fabric is pigment printing. The wallpaper, Wendy, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a variation.
It's a latex printer.
It's a latex.
Great. All good questions. All right. Everybody, if you have any more questions, please put them in the Q&A box down below and we will answer those. I will just also say thank you very much for your time today. We know your time is valuable, so we hope that this was a benefit to you. And you've gotten your 30,000 and 40,000 foot view of ColorWorks and kind of got an elementary introduction to the recoloring tool, that's just something you probably need to go and just spend some time with on the website and play with it, get used to it. If you have any questions, always reach out to Wendy. She'll be happy to help you. If you want to know more about this, I would encourage you to reach out to your sales representative in your area. If you do not have one, feel free to email me in the interim until I can find somebody for your area. My email address is heathwatson@rmcoco.com, heathwatson@rmcoco.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I promised you that I have a giveaway for this seminar, this webinar that we've been having today called ColorWorks. So my question is what is the name of our digital printing program? The first 3 people that put the answer in the Q&A box will be the ones that win a color palette today. So again, what is the name of our ColorWorks? Okay, Krista is quick and she is smart. She was the first one to answer that question, and we're waiting for 2 more people to tell us what the name of our digital printing program is. Again, we talked about ColorWorks this whole 45 minutes, our digital printing program. And if anybody else can come up with the name, okay, Abby's number 2. Great job, Abby. You're a sharp cookie as well. And the next one and the final winner is FF Bernardo. I hope you said that correct. So I will get those orders entered for you. Again, we appreciate your time. Please don't forget, ColorWorks is not the only thing that we do. We're a full service distributor. We want to be your total window solutions provider. We have a full line of decorative fabrics, 7 different hardware lines now, and we have a full service workroom. So we can create draperies and shades and pillows and bedding and cornices. You name it, we can do it for you. We have some great configurators online. We have a 10-day panel guarantee, and we also have another panel program with over 35 to 40 different solid fabrics that you can choose from. And you can great pricing. What was the answer? Victoria asked, what was the answer? ColorWorks, Victoria. ColorWorks. I even gave you the answer before I asked the question. So hopefully you got it. All right. Well, again, thanks for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Everybody have a wonderful weekend and look forward to seeing you on our next, and she laughs, LOL. We'll see you on our next ColorWorks webinar. Take care. Have a
Thank
great
you
day.
all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.